Hey guys, what's up? This is LJS here, and I'm back with another deck profile. So for those of you who noticed, I have been kind of away for about a week because I was on my ski trip. Yay, fun stuff. But anyways, I'm back here with a deck profile on the new Royal Paladin support of Seekers. This time it's going to be Thing Saver Dragon with other stuff. So this is a purely Royal Paladin build. I'll probably do a Thing Abyss later on, but yeah, so today's deck profile is on Thing Saver Dragon. I don't know why they call it Thing. It's supposed to be Sing, but oh well. So as many of you know, I'm not really a Royal Paladin. I'm not a Royal Paladin player, so I don't have access to some of the old cards, and my knowledge of old cards isn't that high. So this deck mainly revolves around cards from BT 16. Yes. So for those of you who are newer, you can make this deck. For those of you who are older, who may know of older cards that are useful, well, I am sorry, I can't really give any advice on that. But anyways, let's get into the deck. So first I'll go through the card list quickly. Then I'll explain the skills as well as reasons to why I run some of these cards in the deck. So first of all, the starter would be Advanced Party Sickle File. So he's there because he's quite consistent and he helps you to call up. Basically, he trades into a Blaster Blade Seeker. So yeah, he's in there, quite consistent. There are other things you can run, such as Great Tree Searchers or other stuff, but I think he's better because he's 5k base, and he's consistent he's quite cheap, his cost. Then for grade 3s, this is my friend's deck, so this is my friend's deck, not my deck. So for grade 3s, he runs 4 Seeker Sting Saver Dragon. So he's your not so creative restanding Vanguard again. So the trend of restanding Vanguards is still continued now into Royal Paladin. So Thing Saver Dragon, he's a pseudo restander, and he is one of those really rare Vanguards that can actually restand twice and swing at your Vanguard 3 times. So I think the only other combination was the old Gold Paladin something, I forgot the name. But anyways, so he is now the only Vanguard that can swing your Vanguard 3 times in a row consistently. So yeah, really good. I'll explain the skill in more detail later on. So next, he runs 2 Light Source Seeker Alfred Exiv. So he is there as sort of a pressure because he gains a passive critical, which is quite pressuring, I guess. So I guess he's good for early game. But the thing is, I only run 2 because in terms of cost, he's quite heavy. Counterblast 2 to call something out because Thing Saver uses Counterblast 2 as well. So they kind of fight for resources. So normally you wouldn't use his second skill, the Counterblast 2 for Alfred Exiv, because you will want to save 4 Counterblast for Thing Saver, which I'll explain later as well. Next, my friend runs 2 Sacred Wingal. So Sacred Wingal is, if you notice, all 3 of these Vanguards, their Legion and their mate are at the same mate, Blaster Blade Seeker. So all of them have the same Blaster Blade Seeker mate. So which is quite good because you don't have to use up space in your grade 2 slot for other mates. So Wingal Brave is there, Sacred Wingal is there because it's good for early game. He allows you to get a free 1+1 instantly, but even though it's a once off, but it's a very cheap +1 compared to unlike his skill, which is Counterblast 2 Seeker, which is quite costly. So that's grade 3s. Now for grade 2s, he runs 4 Blaster Blade Seeker. So Legion Rares, oh yeah. Oh, and I just realized this. The Legion Rare of Blaster Blade Seeker for the mate of Alfred Exiv is a Shadow Paladin, which is quite funny. Yeah, Shadow Paladin, if you can see it, which is quite unfortunate. I didn't notice it during my unboxing, but yeah. Anyways, run 4 because he is the mate of all 3 of your grade 3 Vanguards, and you will also be using him from your starter skill, because the starter skill is basically call out Blaster Blade Seeker from your deck. So yeah, and he is a cheap Counterblast 1, retire 1 if you want to use it, but usually we don't use his skill because he costs Counterblast and you want to save Counterblast for Sting Saver. And the second grade 2 we run is 4 of this Crossbow Seeker Gildas because he is quite a cheap +1. So whenever your Vanguard Legions, you can use him to call out units from your deck. for a counter loss of 1. And yeah, Colony Seeker out. Next, he runs 2 12k attackers. Ideally, you want 1-3 because, but the thing is, he didn't quite have 3 for some reason, so he only ran 2. So ideally, the guys run 3 of these 12k attackers. And he has one of this weird guy for fun, Energy Seeker Madan, his for fun guy. Ideally, you don't want to run him, you want to run this guy instead because he's more consistent. This guy just for fun, I guess. Haha. And for grade 1s, you have your typical 4 Perfect Guards. 3 of this Wingal Seeker. He's mainly there for unflipping damage. And the sad thing is he's only a 6k booster, so usually you only use him as a Vanguard booster, and that's it. Because your Vanguard, as I mentioned, all of them has Blade Seeker as a mate, so he needs to boost Blade Seeker to unflip damage. So he works perfectly fine in the Vanguard booster. And next, run 3 Lake Maiden Lien, basically to help you set up your drop zone early, as well as to fish out for useful cards from your deck. 2 of the 10k attackers, and 2 of the Flail Seeker is Berserk. He's there to provide that 1 turn power push. So he's a 1 turn 11k booster or attacker. And for triggers, he runs 4 8 crits, all Seekers. 4 of the Seeker new stand, because this stand trigger has an interesting skill, quite useful because you get to upgrade him into a better grade 1, as well, and for heals. Another alternative you guys can run for triggers is this draw trigger called Margal, which I don't have. So this is Margal. Basically, his skill helps you build up soul, because Sing Saver needs soul to restand. So you want to build up enough soul to allow him to restand twice in 1 turn. So yeah, so that's the deck profile. Let's get on to the skills. So Sing Saver skill is, his skill is, number 1 is Legion skill. Basically, he Legions with Blade Seeker. So perform Legion. There we go. So once his other skill is Count Blast 2, Soul Blast 3, and discard 2 cards from your hand. So at the end of battle that this unit attacks a Vanguard, if this unit is in Legion, you can pay the cost. If you do, then you will search your deck for another copy of him from the deck, write him as stand, shuffle your deck, and then you choose a Blade Seeker from your soul, and then Legion with it. Boom. So in order to Soul Blast 3. So in order to restand twice in 1 turn, you need to have 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. You need to have 5 souls ready before you use your skill. So what happens is that when you attack Soul Blast 3, you have 2 souls left. 2 souls left in your soul. Write him from your deck, and then you would have another 3 souls available to Soul Blast to restand again. So normally you have your grade 0, which goes into your soul, so there's 1 soul, 0, your grade 1, your grade 2, and that's 3 souls there. So you need 5 souls to achieve his ability. So ideally, you would want to Legion with one of these 2 early game, so that gives you an additional 2 souls. Hence, by the time you write Sting Saver, you have 5 souls. And when you have 5 souls for Sting Saver, his life to be able to restand twice. Next would be Alfred Seeker Exiv. His skill is, first one is Legion, also Blade Seeker. And during your turn, if this card is in Legion, he gets 1k for each rearguard with Seeker. And if the number of rearguards you have is 5 or more, he gets a critical. So basically, he has 2 parts to his skill. Gaining 1k for every Seeker. So if you have 5 Seeker rearguards, 5 other units with Seeker in the class name. So basically he gains sort of 6k because of the Blast Blade as well. And he also gains a crit if you have 5 or more, 5 rearguards. Yeah. So he is a good early game pressure. Secondary skill is a special Counter Blast 2. So you Counter Blast 2 cards with Seeker, and search your deck for a Seeker in his card name and call it to R and shuffle your deck. So basically, the second skill is quite expensive. It's a Counter Blast 2. But normally you don't use his second skill because you need Counter Blast for Sting Saver. So he is there. He used him early to mid game when you have full field to swing with that nice critical for 26k with nice critical, which is quite good. and finish off with Thing Saver by resending twice, which is OP. So next we have Sacred Wingal. So his first skill is Legioning with Blade Seeker as well. And his second skill is when this unit legions, you can search your deck for a grade 2 or greater Seeker in his card name, call it to R and shuffle your deck. So basically he allows you to get a free +1 on a new legion. And his other skill is he gains 2k when he attacks the Vanguard. Blade Seeker skill is when it's placed on R, if you have a Vanguard with Seeker, count +1 and retire a grade 2 or greater rearguard of your opponent. So, but normally you don't use his skill because he takes count plus, yeah. Starter skill is put him in a soul. When your Vanguard Legion, you can pay the cost. So basically when your Vanguard performs Legion, put him in a soul, you can superior call a Blade Seeker onto a field from the deck. So this guy's skill is, when your Vanguard Legions, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a card with Seeker in its card name, call it to R and top of your deck. So, which is count +1. So, his skill, you don't really use him that often, but you do usually use it occasionally because he's a cheap count +1 to call something out from the deck. And you can actually, it says call it to R, so it doesn't have to be open R. So you can actually use it midway of his skill. So the thing is, as I mentioned earlier, his skill, it will be superior, right? Basically after you attack, you can superior him from the deck. And then you can then Legion with a Blade Seeker from the soul. And this is considered performing Legion. And this skill applies, so this also applies as condition from his skill. So you can actually call another unit later on after using Thing Saver skill, which I think I'll probably show later, so you guys can understand better. Then here is your typical Seeker, 12k attacker. So if you have a Vanguard with Seeker, he swings for 12k. And this guy's skill basically gains, whenever this guy attacks Vanguard, if you have a Blade Seeker in your Vanguard circle, and since you always have a Blade Seeker in your Vanguard circle because all your grade 3s mate with Blade Seeker, so yeah, his skill is always active. So whenever you attack, you count +1, he gains 1k for each of a unit with Seeker in his card name until end of turn. So he can essentially gain 6k every turn. Then you have a Perfect Guard, and you have Wingal Seeker. So his skill is when this unit when he boosts a Blade Seeker and it hits a Vanguard, you can discard a card from your hand, unflip a damage, and draw a card. So yeah, so basically he's there for unflipping damage. And usually you use him as a Vanguard booster because he's 6k, your Vanguard at 20k, 26k is a nice column. Lake Maiden Lien, rest her, drop a card, draw a card. So it helps you set up a drop zone to perform Legion, as well as to help you dig your deck for cards that you need. He's a 10k attacker, so basically if you have a Seeker Vanguard, he swings for 10k. When you place him on R, if your Vanguard is in Legion, he gains 4k, so until end of turn. So when you call him, if your Vanguard is in Legion, he's an 11k booster or 11k attacker for that turn. So he's useful for a power push. And for the stand trigger skill is when this unit boosts and the attack hits a Vanguard, you can retire him and then call a grade 1 or less card from your deck as rest. So he's very useful because let's say you don't have any grade 1s, but you have him, you can use him to boost and trade him for a useful grade 1 or whichever grade 1 you think is useful, like him. Yeah, but there's no point anyways. So yeah, so that is the deck profile, and this one combo I can show you with Thing Saver skill and Gildas' skill. So let's just say you have Thing Saver here, and then let's say you have Gildas on the field, and you have 12k attacker or something like that, and then you have some soul. Let's just put this random souls in here. There you go. So let's just say you have 5 damage open. Okay, so first you swing with this guy, this column. Then you swing with this, and it hits. So first use his skill, count +2, Soul Blast, Superior Ride, and Legion with the Soul, mate. His skill unflips, his skill activates, count +1, and then you can Superior Call a 12k attacker over here. And let's say you swing with this guy again, use count +2, restand, re-Legion, his skill activates again, count +1, Superior Call a grade 1 from your deck here. Now you have a full column to attack with again. So this turn will be insane. So That is assuming they let his the first attack when this guy boosts hits. That way you can afflict damage. So yeah, so you get 1 full column, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 full column attacks. And your Vanguard attacks 3 times, which is insane. So yeah. So this is my friend's deck profile of Thing Saver, Seekers. The main idea of the deck is to, first of all, early game, you either pressure with criticals from Alfred, or gate free calls with Wingal, and late game, right Thing Saver, have 5 souls, swing for your opponent 3 times with your Vanguard, and win the game that way. So that is how Seekers kind of work this way. So yeah, so this has been the deck profile of Thing Saver, Sacred Wingal, Alfred Exiv deck. I hope you guys like it. Sorry if it was a bit messy, kind of a bit unprepared and all that, but hopefully it's clear. So thanks for watching, and hope if you enjoyed the video, thumbs up. If you like my content, subscribe. And this has been LJS, and I'll see you guys next time.